Welcome to the Society of Cryptid Hunters podcast. Josh and David, just two regular guys with a passion and interest in our unknown and unexplained hidden world. This show delves into the latest sightings, theories, research, and stories in the field of cryptozoology. If you enjoy the show and don't want to miss an episode, please give them a follow and leave them a comment. Let's embark on this journey together and keep an open mind as we explore the mysterious world of cryptids.
All right, we're back. That took forever. All right.
Hey Dave.
How you doing?
I'm good. We'll get this thing going. Woo! So I've been thinking about how I was going to start the show.
Okay.
Anyway. So
So,
we're back and we're going to continue our discussions on the fantastical beasts, creatures, if you will. If you got to our last episode, we spoke about leprechauns. So we do hope you enjoyed that. Enjoyed the learning a lot about those little green guys, or originally red, if you did listen to the show. But yeah, but if you like the
red.
show, please give us a like. Let us know you're listening. The more likes and follows we get, we know that excites us, and we want to make more shows. So we're going to keep doing this. But yeah, let us know. Send us some comments. Follow us on Spotify. It's the only place we're at right now. But hey, at least we're somewhere. Or just do a Google search. I think I did that the other day and I found us, which is pretty awesome too. So.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And also, if you're out there and there's a topic you want us to dabble in, like I've had a recent request about the Winnebago. Wendigo. I said Winnebago. Wendigo.
It's a win.
The Winnebago. No, the
I
Wendigo.
immediately went to space balls on that, you know.
But yeah, if there's a topic out there, if you're listening from another country and there's something in your area, let us know. Send us a message, drop it in the comments. Um, yeah, if there's any local lore of a cryptid or a sighting of a cryptid, send us the video, anything. We'll start putting that on our show if you actually send us something.
Yeah, we'd love to dig into something like that. That would be awesome. So please do, please do. Hey, David, guess what?
What?
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about goblins, which I'm super
Goblins.
excited about it because I don't know if you know this about me, why I'm time, but I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Hey, I'm sporting my Gandalf shirt right now.
I see that. And I'm sure you know, wearing a Gandalf shirt, that orcs are actually goblins.
That is correct, and a lot of
And
people didn't know that.
and I bet you know way more about it than I do, since you've read it way more than I have.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I just had my 6-year-old is watching them, and we are on Return of the King right now. So he's actually inside as we're recording, watching that, which is there you go.
Um, I wanted to say that I love The Hobbit. I know that that's a controversial thing, but I love The Hobbit. So I read The Hobbit when I was little. I was like,
Yeah.
they read it in school, in Texas when I grew up, and I loved it. Um, and the movies, I mean, Peter Jackson made it, but I thought it was, or was it Guillermo del Toro? Not
No,
Guillermo.
it's Peter Jackson. Yeah, no, no.
Was it Peter Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Um, but I think they were great. I know that there's some problems. They added characters, and some people say it shouldn't be three movies. But I was gonna tell you, Weimer, that because I don't know if you've seen the Rings of Power, but I think the Rings of Power suck. I think it's
I,
terrible.
I'm halfway through the first episode, if that tells you anything.
So spoiler alert,
And it
like
came
it
out like
takes
what, 2 years ago?
yeah, it takes like 12 episodes to get the Balrog, which is like my favorite, one of my favorite characters in Lord of the Rings, and this is a spoiler for all you people that haven't seen it. It's only on screen for about 20 seconds. So I watched like 12 hours of this show just to see a Balrog for 20 seconds, which is just ridiculous.
Hmm.
Um, but in the Hobbit has goblins.
Yes. Yes, it
And
does.
so I I I I didn't remember. So what is the link between in Tolkien's lore between the goblins and the orcs? How did the goblins turn into orcs
Ah,
in that lore?
that that's a good question. I don't know how they do that, but I know that they're almost like different species from my understanding. Because I did find some stuff when I was reading about brushing up my knowledge on goblins. It's been a while. I just keep my goblin information and my know-how in my back pocket whenever
Mm,
it's asked upon me.
yeah, is that next to your pocket
Constitution,
constitution? Yeah,
yeah, you gotta have a
thought
strong
so.
constitution. If you play
Mm.
Dungeons and Dragons, you also need a strong constitution. So
You know, on the ship, people play that all the time, but I've never
hey,
played Dungeons and
that
Dragons.
actually makes me happy to hear. It does.
Oh, on the ship, Dungeons and Dragons is huge. They have like
That's
Dungeons and
awesome.
Dragon Nights. Actually, you know what else is huge is Magic the Gathering is actually
Okay.
making a big comeback. I mean, because I was like in middle school when that came out, you know.
Yeah, it shows my age. I was in high school. So
Oh, well, yeah, we're a little bit
yeah,
older
I
then.
did have some of the revised edition, but I never did get the Black Orchid back then. So
Yeah. Oh
or
my
any of the
God. Have
Mox
you,
gems, if everybody knows I'm talking nerd alert. But yeah, you know what I'm
on
saying.
the side note, like, completely off the subject, have you looked? I mean, I remember there was a kid and everybody was screaming in the lunch room, and this kid found in his pack the Black Orchid.
Oh,
And
nice.
back then, that was like $100. I bet it's like 30,000
I
now.
haven't looked it up now, and then with grading and everything they do on cards, I couldn't just imagine what that would go
It
for
might even be
graded.
more than that. It might be even way more than that,
But I'm still
actually.
like, I mean, it wasn't even that great of a card, right? It was just rare.
Might have
So
killed everything. I don't know. I never played the game, so I don't
no,
really know.
I don't remember,
I'm gonna sound
but
like a complete idiot to the rest of
I
the
was
boys.
just
Like, oh, this
happy to
guy.
get the Siobhan Dragon. I was happy with it. I
Hmm.
think it was cool. Or the doppelganger. I got that pulled that from a pack one time. I thought that was the best thing ever. I was like, okay.
On the ship, we get like care packages,
Vesuvian
and
doppelganger. Sorry, I just thought it was. Anyway, sorry.
we get like these care packages, and the care packages always have um magic cards, and I don't play magic. I never have. So I just gave it
Yeah,
to a friend. I had like a whole bag of them. I
that's
just gave
cool.
it to a friend of mine that said randomly that he plays that. So I was like, I actually even have a Warhammer set. I have a
Okay.
Warhammer Skaven army that I still haven't even played. I've never played with. I haven't even painted it.
I never got the Warhammer. I do know that there's like shops around here. I did see one not too
Yeah,
far from here.
I've been thinking
That's
about it's just a
expensive,
lot
isn't
of
it?
time. It's expensive. It's a lot of time. You
Yeah.
have to paint them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went to
Well,
my son. We created Dungeons and Dragons characters recently,
mm,
and so we for his birthday, I took him to the comic book store, and they got this big one in town down the street from us, and he had to pick up some miniatures.
Lone
And
Star
they're
Comics.
already pre-painted, but he's just had to get them. So I think I create, and they're watching Lord of the Rings right now. I created a monster. What can I say?
So, um, what do you think of the Hobbit trilogy?
I,
The actual movies compared to the books.
oh, I mean, the book by far is. I mean, that's one of the books you can reread
Oh, and I
a
have.
lot. Yeah,
But what did
but
you
the
think about
movies,
the act? Well, what did you think about the movies? I guess I should say.
I didn't hate them, but they're not my. Oh, I should watch these every year. I could watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy once, at least once a year, and be
Okay,
happy.
well, so, and I agree with you. However, after seeing the Rings of Power and what it's turned into, and I
Yeah,
went back and for this episode I rewatched the Hobbit because it has goblins in it.
right.
I forgot how good it really is. Like Thorn, son of Thrain, like he is played by John Armitage, which he is such a great actor. Such a great actor. This is ridiculous how good he is.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's really good. Like there's so much action. The CGI is really good. It's believable.
yeah,
And one of the things that you're right, it was Peter Jackson, but Peter Jackson, do you remember the 1970s cartoon for Lord
yeah.
of the
Oh, yeah.
Rings or
Dude,
The
I have
Hobbit?
that. I have it. I have it.
Okay. So you
Oh
remember
no,
how it was,
the Hobbit one with Leonard Nimoy doing the.
I don't
Rick,
remember
hold on.
I don't
No,
remember
Leonard Nimoy
who
did the
did it, but
voices. Yeah.
so um Peter Jackson loved the songs from them because they sang in it, remember?
Yeah. Oh
Um
yeah.
in in the cartoon. So he wanted to keep that element in The Hobbit. So there's a song when they're all like messing up Frodo's house. They sing this like song, um, over the mountain,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. Like I want it as a ringtone. It's such a great song where they all sing, and that was one of the elements that he wanted to put into the movies. That he was like, well, these songs are really good. I don't want to put all of them, but he put two of them in, and the only two songs is when or at his house, and like one of it's when they're cleaning up the dishes, and he's like, "That's what Bilbo Baggins hates." But that's a little well known fact that he loved those songs and wanted to put them in there.
That's awesome.
Um, you know what else is interesting about The Hobbit is Bilbo in the story. Uh, he acted like he didn't want the dwarfs at his house at all. He didn't want them eating all his food. And then
Correct.
when they gave him the contract, he's like, I don't want to do this. And then they all leave, and he has this moment where you, even in the movie, where you're like, oh, he's fine. And then he's like, I could go on an adventure. I could go on the adventure of my life. My life could actually have meaning. And you see, like in the movie, you see this face, and I can't remember what that actor's name, but you see that he's like, I could go on an adventure, or I could just sit here, and he
Yeah.
leaves. And I always think that that was an amazing idea because, like, that's such a realistic thing that would happen to somebody. They'd be like, "Well, I could go doing what my mediocre life is right now, or I could literally have the time of my life that eventually write a book about." There and Back Again, by the way, is what
There
the
you
book
go.
was called.
That's right. And I do apologize for the Leonard Nimoy reference that he actually there's a song called "The Ballad of Bilbo Baggins," which was composed by Charles Randolph Green and performed by Leonard Nimoy. So there you can find that.
Wow, Spock did
Well,
it.
you're welcome. Yes. So yeah. But
Back to goblins.
back to Goblins. So we
Why don't
what we
I?
like to do with these shows is do a little bit of history and kind of
Mm-hmm.
the folklore of these fantastical creatures, if you will. We had a very thorough, I think, I would say very thorough analysis on the old leprechaun right before St. Patty's Day. Hope everyone had a
Absolutely.
great St. Patrick's Day, safe. Hope I had a great Easter. Easter is past us
Great
now as
Easter.
well. Yeah,
Had a lot of ham.
got a ham.
Mm,
Yeah,
big ham.
I don't remember what I had that day. I don't know. It's
We
all
had
good.
ham, and then we made ham bean soup, which was fantastic later with the ham.
Ham bean soup.
Mm,
Sounds great. Well, let me talk about goblins for a second, David.
let's do it.
Yeah. So they're like these small. So when you think of goblins, everybody I think has an idea what a goblin is. That there's these small, grotesque, mischievous creatures. They're folklore throughout European history and cultures. Mostly shrouded in mystery. A lot of the stories come out from the Middle Ages, if you will. They different temperaments, different appearances. It just really depends on what stories they're in or how they want to portray the stories. Like a good example would be like the Lord of the Rings. We were talking about how the orcs are a version of troll, or I'm sorry, goblins.
Right.
Um, some of them could also be household spirits. I think a good one that some people uh, would think there's other things that are similar to goblins, but some of the more, I guess, domesticated ones. If you can, an example would be, I don't think you've seen the Harry Potter series, but
I don't
goblins
like
are
Harry Potter.
okay. Well, fair enough.
Sorry for all the
But
no's out there. I'm not a Harry Potter fan.
but the banks are in at Gringotts are ran by goblins. So there you go.
Hmm.
Yeah, but they're actually
I
more to
don't even know
do, and
what that
they
is, but sure.
well, yeah, well, people who know what Harry Potter is know what it is. It's in Diagon Alley. So so they take on so there's different origins that I found that goblin myths do exist across Europe and lots of countries, including like Ireland, France, Germany, Scotland, England, Norway, Sweden, Italy, France. So these they have different traits: mischievous household helpers, the malicious and bestial thieves are goblins. So, but they're interesting fact. I know that we did spit out some leprechaun facts, but there are places that are named and they're goblin inspired. out in the world out
Oh,
there.
I read that. Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
go into that.
So let's go to our Scotland for a second here. Sounds like Calcaden actually means nasty goblin den. Yeah. And Cowlair means goblin. Goblin? Ha! Try saying that 5 times fast. Cowlair, goblin lair, is called goblin lair, pays homage to these creatures. There's also the Gap of Goblin in France, the Goblin Valley in Utah. You heard of the Goblin Valley in Utah?
Goblin Valley Utah Park.
Yep.
Goblin Valley State Park.
Yep. It's the place. Actually, we honeymooned through the national parks dinner, so we passed through Goblin Valley.
So Utah, off the subject,
Yeah.
Utah is beautiful. I love Utah. Like, I had no idea how beautiful Utah is. When you see like when you go to like Western Utah, like it's breathtaking how beautiful it
Oh,
is
it's
there.
it's like, how did this happen? It's like
I know, yeah.
it's like God
I
just
can,
said, I'm gonna just mold this, and you go look at this. And if you're
yeah,
not in all,
it's
there's something wrong with y'all.
absolutely amazing. Like if you go there and you're in a bad mood, like you're not in a bad mood anymore. I swear.
Yep. Yep. A
Hmm.
couple other places. There's the Goblin Crescent in New Zealand, Goblin Bay in
Goblin
Canada.
Bay.
Yep. And they all evoke goblin lore. We love that word lore. So there's even a planet out there in our solar system, sir. Do you know
There's
what
a
it's
planet.
named? Yeah, do you know what it's named?
541132.
Yes. And when you actually translate that, it's whimsically named the Goblin. So
Oh, that's what that means. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Did I hear one in there? All right. So let's talk about the
Oh, I like how they're
attribute.
mischievous.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about their abilities and their attributes.
Oh, yeah, like their powers. Yeah,
So,
oh,
are
I
you
love
ready
it.
for this? This is where it gets exciting, with the
Yeah, that
lore of
sounds
these.
exciting.
So they possess these magical abilities similar to fairies.
Okay.
Shape shifting is a common trait.
Shape
Some
shifting? Did not
shape
know that,
shifting,
dude.
yeah. So
Like
there are similar
changelings.
creatures to goblins, and there's some we've talked about. Some of these I've never heard of, so if I say it wrong, I apologize in advance. But some I have heard of, and I know what they are. So brownies, and have you ever heard of a brownie? Not the
I've
sweet
just
chocolate
eaten
treat.
them.
Yeah. Do you like it with nuts or no? I mean, some
No,
people.
I'm not a nut guy.
Yeah,
Well,
nut
no, I
guy.
like
You're not a
eating
little
nuts.
Debbie brownie guy.
I like nuts by
I know.
themselves,
Yeah,
but I
you
don't like
like them.
nuts in my brownie.
Oh, okay. I still don't know, but anyway, um, but yeah. So brownies are like these little sprite-looking guys. Actually,
No
the
way, I didn't know that.
so Cleveland Browns. If you look at old Cleveland Browns football team logos, there's a little like
Yeah, it's a weird
cup-looking
little
thing.
dude.
That's a brownie.
Get out of here. I did not there was like a car. So I went to the store earlier and there was a car that was like an old Chevy truck, like 1979 or something.
Yeah,
Old truck. And he had the old Browning or Brown's um character on the back of his truck. And I was like, oh, that's stupid. Because
yeah.
obviously I don't like the Browns. I mean, you're from Ohio, and you don't even like the
I'm from
Browns.
Ohio and I don't like the Browns.
Right. And I just thought it was a stupid character. I had no idea
It's a
that was what
brownie.
that
Yeah,
was.
it's a brownie. That's
That
where. Yeah,
makes so much sense.
yeah, yep. So also similar creatures include dwarves, duendes. I don't know what those are. Gnomes, imps, leprechauns, and kobolds. So kind of goblin. It can be used as like a blanket term for all these small kind of creatures. Goblin kind of encompasses a lot of these things that people talk about. Um, so some of the more diverse traits that they have. So unlike like uh like unified lore, goblins exhibit a range of abilities and behaviors. Some we talked about are mischievous, some can be malevolent, while others are kind of friendly, trickster kind of things. So we talk, and that's what's funny about these little creatures is how we talk about leprechauns being like tricksters and things like that too. It's like, what's up, little dudes? Like, why are we always pulling pranks?
I
What's going on?
thought the same thing, bro. Like when I was reading this, I was like, this sounds like the same thing that leprechauns are. Like it's like the
Yeah,
same lore almost.
they're like ugly leprechauns or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Then you throw wings on them, and then they're all fairies. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
yeah. So the Scottish English hobgoblins fall into a latter category, while the
Which is a
Anglo-Scottish
great beer, by
border,
the way.
the what?
It's a
Oh,
great beer, by the
the
way.
hobgoblin. Man, that's been around a long time. Was it Dark Star? Is that the one brewery?
I can't remember. I actually had one in Misawa, Japan
Oh,
once. And it was so delicious, by the way.
yeah,
If
sounds
you ever
great.
get a chance, check it out.
Yeah. So I've had the hobgoblin, but if any of the listeners have not, by all means,
Hmm.
it's been around quite a while, but it's good.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So Anglo-Scottish border red-cap goblin soaks its hat in human blood. So I don't know if I want to mess with those.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah. So those are some interesting diversive traits and powers. Now I do want to talk about one that I think you're going to enjoy me talking about this. At least I hope so, because it is an anniversary year for this film. But
Okay.
Jareth, the Goblin King from the movie Labyrinth, represents
Okay.
the immoral nature of goblin lore.
I was gonna get into this,
We
because
can.
I didn't know if we were gonna get into it and if you're gonna bring it up, but yes,
Well,
and
we
in
can bring it up.
fact,
We can bring it up later. You don't have to get into it
okay,
yet when you're
we'll
ready.
say that for the end then.
Yeah, because I cannot stop singing "Dance Magic Dance." I'm driving my family
Yeah,
crazy.
okay, it didn't because we'll have a conversation about that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we'll get
We'll
into it.
bring
Okay.
that up later.
Yeah. So hey, stick around because we're going to get into this. Don't leave us. Don't leave us,
For all you Labyrinth fans out there.
dude. There was a re-release in the theaters not that like probably a month ago. Crazy
Really?
busy. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And the rumors of a
Yeah,
Labyrinth
we'll
2.
get into I have a bunch to say about it, so
Okay,
keep going.
okay, okay. The etymology and spelling. So the word goblin is first recorded in the 14th century, believe it or not.
Wow.
It likely stems from unattested Anglo-Norman gablin, which is similar to Old French gabelin. So that's my best French I can do. Oui. Okay.
Very nice.
So
Yeah, I'm
thank
impressed.
you. Thank you. Uh-huh.
You've never even been to France, and I've been there 3 times.
I have not been to France. The closest I've been to Paris is in Las Vegas.
I've been to France 3 times.
I'll be in Vegas next week, by the way. So if anyone sees me on stage, I'm
I've been to Vegas
there.
4 times.
I've been there like 15.
Yeah, that's where your convention is.
That's
Yeah,
where all my conventions are every single year.
yeah,
Anyway,
wow.
I know. Okay, so medieval Latin also contributes to its etymology with, oh, here we go, gabelinus. Is that Latin? I don't know, man.
That's a funny name.
I know, referring to a devil or demon. So there's some of these things that like I don't like to touch, but this is strictly like history and belief systems from back then. Um, The German term kobold shares the linguistic roots with goblin, originating from the Germanic root ka, meaning hollow in the earth. So goblins, while goblins are prevalent in European folklore, variations of these creatures appear in diverse cultures worldwide. So they're they started kind of in Europe in the 14th century, and they kind of stories went. Now they're totally in pop culture everywhere. And I know we're going to transition to you in just 1 second because we were talking about Tolkien's twist on the goblin. Tolkien's Middle Earth goblins differ from traditional myth in that goblins and massive dangerous orcs are just basically one and the same. So when
Yeah,
we
they
go back
didn't
to that
live
question, I was kind
underground.
of saving it for now. Is how do goblins and orcs come together? You can thank J.R.R. Tolkien for that. Basically, is he's the one that created the orc. He's the one that said orcs are goblins. There's no lore to it other than what you can find in his writings. Um, so yeah, we kind of nailed the Lord of the Rings situation on that. But goblins literally are, I mean, just in fantasy folklore, fantasy stories, books, movies, whatever. There's a lot of goblins, and I'm not just talking about Ren and Stimpy, man.
Oh, so
Nobody
one
got
thing
that.
that I was gonna throw to you
Yeah.
is, did you know that the Smurfs, the original Belgian, um, when Belgian, um, when it was translated into English, it was originally goblins, and then when they translated it in English, they changed it to Smurfs.
What?
So the Smurfs are goblins. If you look that up, um, Papa Smurf and all that, they're all goblins, bro.
They're all
They're
goblins.
goblins. Isn't that
Smurfs are
crazy?
goblins?
when I
That's
read
crazy.
that, I mean, I grew up watching the Smurfs, which like is such a dumb show. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say that. Like, it's such a
Oh,
dumb
come
show.
on.
Like, it's not good. Um, but
Oh,
yeah, when I was like, the Smurfs are goblins, I was like, what is this? This isn't true. This isn't true. Are you kidding me?
what
And I
are they?
looked into it more. I'm
They're
like,
only
yeah, it's
what, three
definitely
apples
true.
high? Come on, be nice to them. They're blue. They're already sad.
Yeah,
And
but yeah, and you're
they
right.
got
Like
one female that's not even a
they're
real
always
goblin. She's made from clay.
yeah, yeah, and they talk about it in Donnie Darko. Remember that?
Oh, dude, Donnie Darko. I haven't watched that in like 20
So,
years.
by the way,
Great
that is the
movie.
best Jake Gyllenhaal movie, period.
That'd be
Don't care what
Gyllenhaal,
anybody
David.
says.
Jake Gyllenhaal. He's like he's awesome.
Donnie Darko is one of the best movies ever made, period. I don't
Yeah,
care what anybody says.
it's out there. It's good stuff. That was like kind of like the epitome of when I started watching art films and then got a
Yeah.
degree in film.
Yeah.
That was
Well, I
it.
got a degree in
Now I'm
art. You
working
have a
in
degree in film.
movies.
I have a degree in art. We both don't do anything remotely related to it.
What are you talking about? I work in
I
the
guess you
movies.
kind of do. Yeah, kind of. I definitely don't, though.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, man. Lots of goblins out there. We did talk about Jareth the Goblin King. Do you want to get into Labyrinth now? Because there's some stuff I got to talk about Labyrinth that I promise people when in the episode I
Okay,
have to get out.
let's do it
All right.
because there's so many Labyrinth people out there, and let me start with that. So I don't like Labyrinth, not a big fan. However, my wife is the biggest Labyrinth fan ever.
Well,
She
we see who
made
the
me
smart
watch.
one is in the family then. We see
Yeah,
who.
exactly. She makes me watch it all the time. She sings
Good.
the songs. And
It's
so
hard
I'm
to
a
get it.
David Bowie fan. One of my favorite songs ever made was a David Bowie song. It's called I can't even think, I'll remember it here in a minute, but
Man.
um everybody always says about David Bowie's bulge. And I'm just
I would
gonna
like
leave
to
it at
say
that.
cod piece.
Yeah. So Jim Henson, I believe, did all of the
Yes,
um
correct.
so he's the Goblin King, and all of the like the weird little like I can't remember what that guy's name that meets her in the actual
Oh, the
labyrinth,
little
like
short, the dwarf, right?
the little
Or,
dwarf guy. He was a goblin.
oh, he was a goblin. Really?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah. Yeah. My wife had to explain that to me because I,
oh.
obviously didn't care because I don't like that movie.
Well,
But
it's been a while since I'm not gonna
oh,
lie
and I
either. But
remembered it. So, it's called Andy Warhol. For my music lovers out there, if you listen to Andy Warhol, that is the best song ever made from him, by the way.
hmm,
Amazing song.
interesting. Hoggle, was that his name?
Toggle, that's it. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. So the only thing I remember it always sticks with me because I don't know. Should I show a 6-year-old this movie yet? You think it'd be all right?
Mm, yeah, I guess. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing bad in it other
No,
than the bulge.
dude, one of the funniest things I remember as a kid watching this movie, other than like David Bowie completely freaking me out because he seemed like a nice guy and then he was bad. I'm like, I don't like this. And then he's kidnapping babies. I don't know. But when they run across the bog of eternal stench, and every time they step on a rock, it made like a fart noise, I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I was dying in tears.
As a kid, I thought it was dumb. I'm gonna throw something else out there, and you're gonna think I'm dumb too.
Wow.
That my wife also loves. Goonies. I don't like the Goonies either.
Okay, this is the last
Exactly.
podcast,
Yeah,
folks, that we're
everybody
doing
always gets
together
mad at me.
ever. Yeah, because the next podcast we're going to do is called Goonies Never Say Die. But guess what, David? I'm not inviting you on that. It's done. We're going to have like yearly trips to Astoria and go visit the
What's
house and
funny
go to the
is
caves. My One Eye Willie. Damn, I even got the doubloon
so
and the map and
I live in the
everything.
Pacific Northwest, and the where that was actually filmed is only like 2 hours away from me, 2 or 3 hours away from me.
David, that hurts my heart, man.
Yeah, and I just I never liked it. I was I
How do you not like
every
Goonies?
time I
How do you
thought
not
about
like
watching
Goonies
it,
as a kid?
I probably just
Man,
watched like Back to the Future instead or something.
that's fine too. That's great too. But I mean, just to have that adventure as a kid, man, we always pretend we were Goonies with our BMX bikes. Well, kids don't do that stuff now.
No.
He's at home like, let's ride our BMX bikes on our iPads together and link up.
Well, maybe
What's a
they're at
BMX
home listening
bike,
to this
Dave?
podcast now.
What? That's good stuff. Man. Oh, so yeah, dance magic dance. Put that magic spell on me. All right.
So the music, I mean, David Bowie is a musical genius. I'll give it that.
Yeah, of
Absolutely.
course he is.
Jennifer Connelly, I think it's like 15 at the time in that
Yeah,
movie or something.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and the labyrinth, the actual labyrinth, it's made very well. Like the labyrinth looks good. The hands that come out are very believable.
Oh yeah. Oh, when they is that the ones that they do the talking?
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
And you can
that's
fact
cool.
check me, but I believe Jim Henson did all of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We brought that up. Yeah, he did that, and like, um, we were talking about there's like rumors of making a sequel somehow and how that would look, but
That would be a terrible idea. This is such a stupid idea. Why would you do that?
because Hollywood remakes everything or does sequels to
They
everything.
really do.
I don't know.
I
Like,
said once, completely off the subject, I said that Hollywood would remake Fight Club someday. And I bet you they will.
they probably will. I mean, they remade Roadhouse.
I watched it.
You probably loved it. You probably loved it more than Goonies, jerk.
Kind of, yeah, maybe.
That's terrible. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal was in it. I mean, I
Yeah,
can't go for that.
I love Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
actually in a
man.
really good movie. If you haven't seen it, Southpaw, amazing,
Oh, I saw Southpaw.
amazing movie. Yeah,
Not gonna lie, I've seen all of his movies
yeah, yeah,
except for Prince
probably.
of Persia. We just kind of pretend that didn't
I've seen that too. I
happen.
don't know if I've seen the end of it. It's really bad though.
It's not great. And why is he playing a Persian? I don't know.
I'm not getting into that subject right
I'm
now.
not getting into that either. I just asked the question. It's like Matt Damon in The Great Wall. I had no idea.
That's a stupid movie. I tried watching that.
Oh,
Oh, it's dumb.
talk about, well, I want to be
Hey,
an
by the
epic.
way,
I want to be an
uh,
epic movie. Yes.
speaking of an epic movie, when it comes to The Hobbit, why couldn't the Eagles just take everybody to the final destination they needed to go to?
I don't
Have you ever
know.
seen that meme?
Yes. Why couldn't they just take him to Mount Doom and just get it over with?
Why couldn't they just take the right now I'm watching this and they're taking the hobbits to some random place. And the answer is because the Eagles at the time in Tolkien's lore were fighting their own battle.
Ah, well, that's a good way around it.
Hmm.
Good way around it.
But when the Eagles come, you're like, oh, something's really going to be good.
Yeah. Yep. I do. They are pretty majestic. They only come help Gandalf when he calls for help. But that would make sense. Like, why couldn't Gandalf just call for help? Say, hey, can you take these hobbits to Mount Doom?
Exactly.
Um,
Well, then the Eye of Sauron would have seen him anyway, though. If they, yeah.
so, but hey, enough about the Lord of the Rings. I want to jump into a different franchise. Can we do that real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Another
So
franchise.
there is another goblin I just want to bring out there that is part of pop culture, and this is the Green Goblin from
Yes,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Green Goblin, which is off.
Yes,
There's also a Hobgoblin in
there's the
Spider-Man.
Hobgoblin. Yes, two different things look
Hmm.
very similar,
Hmm.
which is interesting. Yeah, but Hobgoblin, um, kind of I don't like that. Man, I knew so much more about the Hobgoblin when I was younger. I really did they ever put him in a movie? I don't think they ever did.
So they didn't put Hobgoblin in the movie, but obviously the first Spider-Man movie had Green Goblin in it.
Yeah, it had Green Goblin. Hey, did you notice too? Movie theaters are putting out all the Spider-Man movies like soon. Like every Monday night, like there's like a Spider-Man movie they're playing all through, starting with the Tobey Maguire, then Andrew Garfield, then um the other guy.
Well, that's because they're talking about making a new one.
Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, so if you want to see the Tobey Maguire ones again, they're going to be in theaters. It's like Monday nights though, which is cool. It's whatever.
That is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, so you get to see the one Willem Dafoe play the Green Goblin again.
Well, what's before you get into this, what's your favorite Spider-Man movie?
What of all the ones that are ever made?
And then I'll tell you it's not a Spider-Man movie. It's my favorite. It's actually Venom. The first Venom movie is my favorite out of all of them.
Over Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Come on, bro.
No, I think Venom, the first Venom movie, that movie's amazing. I'm sorry.
Ugh, man, I know people are gonna listen to this and they'll be like, "Bro, your bro's crazy."
That movie's amazing. It's really good. There's like like an evil Elon Musk character in it. Like it's great. Yeah, love
People
it.
will argue that that is a true prediction or depiction,
Yeah, if you watch that movie, they're like, that's Elon Musk, but bad guy.
but a bad guy. No, Spider-Man 2, man. Come on. So good.
Oh, Doc Ock. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great character. I guess also the guy that plays Doc Ock is very, very good at it.
Alfred Molina, if you will, and did reprise his role in No Way Home, but we're not talking about octopuses right now.
Hmm.
But yeah, Willem Dafoe did reprise his role as well, and he was in Spider-Man 2.
Hmm.
James Franco took the cowl, if you will, and the glider.
Hmm.
They canceled James Franco, but I like James Franco movies. I like his passion for movies and stuff. But
Pretty big fan of This Is the End and Pineapple Express.
yeah, I do like. What was it? 127 hours? Was that the one?
Oh, what a terrible movie. Or
Oh,
not a terrible movie because it's a terrible, like what a terrible
what
story,
what
excuse me.
tragic
Like
story. Oh, but I mean, he
I should
lived.
say tragic. I apologize. Yeah, like I watched the whole thing and I was actually in Iraq when I watched it.
No,
And and I was watching, I was like, this is terrible. Like, how did this happen?
yeah,
And when you talk about like a pocket knife that he cut his arm off with,
dude. Just I mean,
that's
he did that
ridiculous.
to survive, and like I remember. Okay, so if those of you that haven't seen this movie, just kind of hit the mute button for the next like 5 seconds. But the scene, give you a chance to hit pause. Okay, do it now. The scene where he's cutting and then he hits the nerve, and then the sound just goes, and I'm like, oh, you could feel it, and like what a way to make a movie with something like that, like to
Yeah,
bring a full movie to the screen to tell a story. It's like, but it's a great
so that's
outdoors movie and survival movie at the same time.
so that's one of those movies that
Nothing
you
to do with
watch once and
goblins.
you're like, oh, that's amazing. And you're like, I'm never watching this again because I don't want to go through this again. But I'm
Yeah,
glad I just went through it.
yeah. I have it on Blu-ray, so if you want to borrow it, I'll mail it
Oh,
to you.
well, I just finished The Hobbit on Blu-ray.
Yeah. So I got
It's a good.
another goblin for you. Another goblin.
Oh, let's hear
And
another
and
one.
there's
Yeah.
rumors they may remake this movie into a actual I don't know if live action or another
Is it
animated
is
horror
it
movie.
Goblin in space or
No,
Goblin
it's
with a?
not. It's not.
Oh,
No,
it's
no.
not neither one of
Warwick
those.
Davis isn't
Oh,
has
that's
nothing to
only
do with it.
Leprechaun.
No, it's called The Black Cauldron. It's a Disney film.
Oh.
Yes, there are some goblins in this
Yeah, that was
film.
really weird.
Yeah, so this is like part of from my understanding with Disney movies. After Walt passed away. They just like, what do we do? What would Walt do? Well, let's just make these movies. So they came out with all these
What would
movies like
Walt
like
do?
well, yeah, it's pretty much true. Is what they were saying. They still need to remember it was all started with a nun. I think they need to get back to that. But anyway, Black Cauldron came out at the time when they were making these stories, and it wasn't not a big hit. But I think I have this one on. I should have this one on DVD. But it's a very dark movie. The Horn King, and then there's a little goblin in it too. So this it's another one to check out if you want to see some of the goblins or some random off the wall Disney movie. I think it's on Disney Plus. You can find it. Check it out. There's a couple other things. They have some weird goblins in it, but nothing I've seen. I think if I'm not mistaken, there are goblins in one of your. I know we'd watch this together. We had to have at some point, David. The Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, one of my favorite movies of all time.
There are goblins in in Cabin in the Woods, and so
And a mermaid, a merman
oh yeah,
that they always say like the at the end of the movie they're like, oh, we never got to do the merman.
yeah. But yeah, with all the nightmarish creatures and fantastical creatures that are used in this movie, if you haven't seen this
Hey,
movie, please
spoiler alert, by the
check
way,
it out.
if you haven't seen Cabin in the Woods, like it's not what you think it is. This is not at all
No,
what you think
not
it
at
is.
all. And Thor's in it, so check it out.
Not even remotely possible. What you like when you watch like the first hour of it, you're like, oh, this is like a weird movie. And then the last 2 hours, you're like, oh, this is a completely different movie.
Hmm. Correct. And then I brought up the Harry Potter franchise. I'm sorry, there are goblins throughout the movie. Mostly run the banks in the franchise. David does not
So
like that.
J.K. Rowling, by the way, like
Yeah.
I like J.K. Rowling. I think she's a wonderful woman. I think she's a great person. I think she writes fantastic, but I just don't like Harry Potter. Like I'm sorry, I don't like it.
And then Hellboy 2: The Golden Army also has
Oh man, yeah, I was gonna bring that up. So on our next episode, one of our next episodes, we're gonna bring up fairies, which is also in Hellboy too.
yeah. Cool story about Hellboy 2 I just wanted to bring up. And if you care to listen, here we go. So I was at a show last time I lived in Texas, and I met Doug Jones, who plays Abe Sapien in the Hellboy
You
series.
made Doug Jones.
Yeah, I
No,
have his
no
autograph.
way.
Yeah, I have his
Oh
autograph. It's
my
like over
God,
here.
that guy's in so many things though. Like
Oh, I know.
secretly in so many
So
things. He's
yeah,
even in quarantine. He was like the weird thing in quarantine.
yeah. So this is like I forget what just I think probably Bench Warmers just came out. He was like the voice of the robot or something in Bench Warmers. If anybody knows that. The John Lovitz is in
Wow, I
it.
didn't know that.
And yeah, he was the voice. Anyway, so I was talking to him and nobody was in line, and so I just went, it's like, you're Doug Jones. Holy crap. So I got a signed 8x10, him as Abe Sapien, all well and good. It's like, man, are they gonna make Hellboy 2? He's like, man, I really hope so. And sure enough, they finally did. And in Hellboy 2, the Golden Army, there are goblins. There's a mythical creature known as Mr. Wink in that film. So if you have not watched that, Guillermo del Toro, amazingness that started the Hellboy franchise, then please check it out. Don't I mean, oh, as much as I love David Harbour and the stuff he does, he needs to get a new agent, man. Because did you see? I don't want to like segue from Goblins, but you know who David Harbour is, right?
No, I
He's
do
like,
not.
so he played the new Hellboy in the remake, and he's also the sheriff in Stranger Things.
Which okay, so I love Stranger Things, and when I watched the new Hellboy, and it's good, but it's not good at the same time.
Right. Yeah. But like I said, I love David Harbour. I think he's great, but he needs a new agent. He was actually cool in Gran Turismo of all movies, but that did
Oh,
not
I've
do
heard
well
that's
too.
not actually not that bad. Is
It's
that
not
good?
bad. Actually, the fun thing is like when you go to the dentist now, they let you watch like Netflix and stuff.
At the dentist?
Yeah. So I'm laying in there and I had my teeth worked on for like 3 hours. Like, you want to watch a movie? I'm like, sure, what's
You
on?
told me that the other day,
Let me
yeah.
watch a 2 hour movie. I watched the whole Gran Turismo while I'm
Hmm,
getting my teeth worked on. Not fun, but
that's
fun at the
really
same
weird.
time. It's weird, but it's the way it goes. All right. So I'm gonna finish what I have for these pop culture things with this one horror movie with goblins that if my sister listens to the show, but she ain't got time to listen to podcasts. She ain't got time for nothing. She ain't gonna listen. I can talk crap. Who cares? But anyway, there's a movie in history that to this day has still scared me, and I've seen it multiple times. It's called The Gate. Have you
Oh, I
ever
love the
seen
gate.
The Gate? Oh my goodness. I
Those are
haven't watched it
goblins?
since I was. So the little demon creatures are actually goblins. So that's your demon goblin connection
Hmm.
because they do come up from the gate. They are considered goblins. And if you watch YouTube, which I know people, hey, listeners, have you ever heard of YouTube? There's a lot of weird stuff on there. Do goblin real sightings. Jump in that rabbit hole, and you'll see some crazy things where people think they see goblins. One of them they showed
Get
looked
out of
like a
here.
little thing running across their kitchen, looked like from the gate. And I just remember that scene in the gate where they step on one of them and he like squeals. I still remember that. That was like
I was gonna
30,
ask you that.
5
Is
years ago.
like, are you gonna like, look at something in YouTube and trying to relate it to this? And you just did.
Oh,
Actually.
of course I did. Yeah. Yep. So there
Yeah,
are
that's
definitely
correct. That's crazy. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna say it because I'm gonna say it. all the time in all of our episodes were the bones.
Well, what if the bones are too small and the creatures like to eat their bones?
Oh, I like that. And
Hello.
then on the other,
Like I said, always ask questions, dude. Always ask the questions. What are
like
they
that.
at?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the
Maybe
other
it's not about
creatures
the
are
bones
eating the
anymore.
bones.
Goblins.
Mm, I like
Well,
that.
buddy, I think we've covered goblins. What do you think?
Um, so I was gonna bring up that goblin, I'm gonna go back to Lord of the Rings lore. I thought the trolls were the goblins. I know that sounds really stupid, but
No.
I flipped them. I thought you remember when the trolls got turned into stone in the Hobbit, right?
Yes, yes.
I thought those were goblins. Yeah, I completely messed that. I completely flipped that over. And then when the Hobbit when they fall into the goblin realm and they have to like talk to the Goblin King, like I thought those were trolls. Like it might sound stupid to everybody, but like I completely flipped all of that lore.
That's yeah. You can't do that with your mythical creatures, unfortunately, David. No more elven bread for you, sir.
I
All right.
like how you call these creatures. It's one of my favorite things.
Creatures?
Hmm.
How I
Creatures.
say the word.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, and hey, by the way, I'm just gonna throw this out here
By the way,
for everybody that don't actually know this. We are cryptozoologists.
yes, but we're attacking creatures that are mythical currently. So, but people have claimed to have seen. So,
Yeah, and for all you out there, if you didn't know, we're cryptozoologists, and if you want to talk to us, we can tell you how to become a cryptozoologist. It's gonna take a minute. You're not gonna be able to do it, but just now, but you'll be able to someday be a cryptozoologist just like us.
yes, you could. I mean, you just kind of have an interest in it and go for it. Well, David, can I end this on a Dungeons and Dragons goblin joke?
Oh, I love to.
Okay. So why? Well, let's get a good goblin joke here. Okay. Okay. These are rough, man.
Oh, let me hear it.
Okay. Uh, so what do you call? Well, these aren't really goblin jokes. These are dungeon jokes. But anyway, so what do you call a bard with a lot of hit points?
I don't know, dude.
A con artist.
Um,
Because bards are the ones that play the music in the taverns.
oh, I got it.
Okay. Sorry. Sometimes I gotta explain things. Hopefully somebody got it out there. I don't know. But do you know who gives the best hickeys?
Um, loose women. I don't know.
No. Whoa. No, a necromancer.
That was a loaded
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know.
Oh, let
So
me get
anyway.
another one. That was funny.
Oh, yeah, I'm not gonna do any more. They're pretty bad. So I mean you can say, what do you call a dragon after he eats a group of adventurers?
I don't know.
A party pooper. Okay, we're done.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. So goblins, we did it. Made
We
it.
did it.
If you stuck with us till the end of the show here, we thank you. We really appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Make sure you please hit the follow button. Looks like we kind of randomly put out episodes, so set the notification. So when a new one pops up and you enjoy this, the next one, we'll keep working at it. So leave us some comments. Let us know what you think of our shows. And if there's any other fantastical creatures and beasts like David mentioned earlier, we'd love to get into it and see what we can find.
And the truth is out there.
Boo, doo, 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 doo. You can't have a show without the X Files. We got away from even talking about